All right. Hello, everybody. I'm going to be sharing a lineup or two that I like for Fanduel on Week 7 in the NFL. Before I show you this week's line, I just want to review last week's line. I ended up entering 3 lineups in the $500,000 contest last week. As you can see, 2 of them did cash and 1 of them missed by like a point. But this one here, the one that got me my highest points was the one that I shared last week in my video. So just to show it quickly here, I had McCown in here matched up with ASJ at tight end. That worked out really well. If we compare this to the one that won the $500,000, McCown actually did better than Palmer. His running backs did better than mine. At wide receiver, not too different. I mean, Hopkins didn't have a great game, but where, there's a big difference here at tight end. Obviously, Gronkowski did really good. If I could have fit him in, I would have. And we both had the same defense. So anyways, made $20 on that. So pretty good. My lineup that I shared in my video 2 weeks ago when I first started my channel, it won $10. Last week's line won $20. So maybe, hopefully this week we can do $30 or maybe more. So let's get into this week's lineup. So let's go back to NFL here and let's enter this contest here. Start a new line. So this week, if we start at quarterback, my favorite quarterback this week is Dak Prescott. I really like his matchup against San Francisco. I liked him better early in the week when it looked like Elliott might not play. But since he might not be as good of a week for Prescott, but I still think it's going to be a good week for him. Brady and Ryan, that game might turn into a shootout as well for a little more money if you can afford it. As far as cheaper quarterbacks go, I think Wilson might have a good week this week against the Giants. And then maybe Palmer. And I will be doing some lines with CJ here. I think he might be a good option if you need a cheap quarterback. His matchup's not great, but I think he might be a good option if you want to be able to pay up at some other spots. But for this lineup this week, we're going to put Prescott in. At running back this week, I'm not planning to play some of these top expensive guys very much this week. Obviously Bell and Fournette are always good choices. Same with Elliott, Gurley, and McCoy and Freeman. These guys all could have great games. But I don't really like the matchup for any of them except Fournette. I think he's got a great matchup against the Colts if he's feeling good. So I will be trying to fit some Fournette in, but the rest of them will probably be fading mostly. But in this line, I'm going to put in Ingram. I really like Ingram this week. Last week, he did amazing, and I think he could follow that up again. I think a lot of that was because of just getting more touches with Peterson out. And that, speaking of Peterson, he's my other option at running back this week that I like. He's quite cheap, but he showed last week that he really fits in good with Arizona and that he can have great games there. I didn't play him last week because I thought he would take some time to get used to the offense there, but he did it in the first week. So I'm confident playing him again or putting him in this week. So I like that. So, saved a little money, went kind of cheap on running backs, but I like both of them a lot this week. Going to wide receiver, I want to pair Dez up with Dak. I think that's a good stack this week. Also, I like Julio against New England. He's had a real slow start to the year. I don't even think he has a touchdown yet. Yeah, no touchdowns yet, receiving touchdowns at least this entire year. But against New England, I think this could be his week where we we could see him do some good things. I also like Thomas this week. He's basically the only Denver receiver left on the field, so he should be getting a lot of chances. So I like him if he's playing. I have to watch that as it gets closer. So put him in there. At tight end, couple options here. I mean, Gronk if you can fit him. But if you can't, Jimmy Graham's probably my favorite tight end this week. I'll be using him as much as I can. Giants are pretty much the worst defense against tight ends. So I think Graham could be good coming off a bye week up against them. Hasn't had any huge games yet this year, but I think he could beat that 12.7 this week. But I don't think I can fit him in this line, unfortunately. I'll be using him in others, but for this line that I'm going to show you, we're going to go down and we're going to use Kittle. I like him this week as well. He has history with their new quarterback that might, turn into a lot of looks and a lot of throws. So we'll put him in there. Skip over kicker for now. At defense, my favorite defense this week is New Orleans. I used them last week and it worked out great. And I think up against Green Bay and their new quarterback, I think this could be another big week for the Saints. So back to kicker. It doesn't really matter. We'll throw in the New Orleans kicker in here. And there's probably my favorite line of the week. I'll be entering this one for sure. So let's actually, instead of putting that one in, I'm just going to show you just changing a couple people, another line that I really like. We'll leave the top people in here. We'll leave Prescott, Ingram, and Peterson in. If we take out Dez, we lose the stack. But then we could switch Dez out and we could put Larry Fitzgerald in. Not a great matchup for him this week, but it's not too bad. And he had a really good week last week, so we could put him in there, and then we could afford to switch Kittle out and go up to Jimmy Graham as long as I change the kicker down to a $4,500 kicker. So that line there is also another one that I really like. Just three guys different than the first line I showed you. I don't like this one quite as much. Mostly I like this because I can get Jimmy Graham into this one. But I had to lose Dak and switch him for Larry Fitzgerald. So kind of got to try them both maybe. But I like these two lines a lot. So this is what I'll be entering. Please leave a comment below if you have any comments. And let me know what you think. Thanks a lot. And have a good weekend.